What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another rules roundup from the lovely folks over at Transformers TCG HQ. So let's get rolling, shall we? And it wouldn't be much of a rules roundup without a question about superior something. Let's go for superior plating. These are the amazing upgrades, which are amazing. Superior plating gives you tough 4, but which can only be played after you play a tech research. Well, today's question focuses around Quartermaster, and today's question is, well, can you swap it using Quartermaster, which lets you move and upgrade from one of your characters to another, without having played tech research first? And the answer is absolutely yes. And the reasoning is very simply, when you play Quartermaster, you are not playing superior plating, you are moving it. It's not the same thing. If you want to play superior plating, you got to play tech research first, but to swap it between characters, no, you're cool. And that goes for any of the superior upgrades as well. They have a restriction on when they can be played, but if they're not being played, we're fine. Also, comes up every week, let's talk Anticipation Engine. Anticipation Engine is an upgrade weapon, and when you attack, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an action, you may play it. So what happens if you reveal a card that untaps your characters? Let's say, Start Your Engines, which lets you flip all your characters that can become cars into car mode, and then untap one of your cars. What happens? Am I still attacking? And the answer is, nothing happens except you untap the character. You are attacking with that character, you keep attacking. At the end of the attack, your turn ends just like it always would, unless, of course, your opponent has no untapped characters. If all your opponent's characters are tapped, then you continue attacking one at a time with all of your untapped characters until you have none remaining. And then everybody untaps, and it's your opponent's turn. The key point here is, you're untapped but nothing else changes. You have one more untapped character at the end of the turn, which means if your opponent's characters are all tapped, you're attacking once more. If they're not, then you keep going. If all of your characters would have been tapped, but Start Your Engines untaps one, it means that your opponent does not attack with all their characters at the end of their turn. You carry on just as normal. The only difference is, at the end of your turn, you have a character untapped that would otherwise have been tapped. Incidentally, the same thing would happen if you had an Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend who chose to use Start Your Engines or a similar card while attacking. Cool. So what do Wave 1 Kickback and Wave 1 Demolisher have in common? They both flip more battle cards. Kickback, when you attack, flips 2 more battle cards for each other Insecticon with which you began the game. Demolisher, when you're attacking, flips extra battle cards equal to his defense. Well, the answer is, what happens if you flip your first white icon of the battle with your extra cards? And the answer is, it doesn't matter when the white icon appears. A white icon, the first one that you flip during a battle, lets you flip 2 extra battle cards. Does not matter when it turns up, whether it's in your initial 2 cards, extra battle flips of abilities, extra flips for bold or tough, doesn't matter, just so long as a white icon appears. So you've got Cliff Jumper then. He's in car mode. He's got a metal detector attached. Now, metal detector reads, when the upgraded character attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an upgrade, you may play it. And you flip over turbo boosters, so you attach, and then you're untapped. Exactly the same as the ruling we gave a moment ago. You untap during your attack. Nothing else changes. The only difference is, at the end of your attack, you've got one more untapped character. Nothing else changes, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing else changes. Let's go for a slightly more complicated one, shall we? You got Specialist Flamewar. Now this is important because Specialist Flamewar has Focus 2. That is to say, before flipping battle cards when battling, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck and you may scrap any number of them. And she has an Anticipation Engine and a Metal Detector. We've mentioned both those cards already today. Her teammate Raider Aimless has a Decepticon Crown attached. Now, Decepticon Crown is important because when one of your Decepticons attacks, you plan one. That is to say, you may put one card from your hand on top of your deck. And her other teammate is General Optimus Prime in Alt Mode, which gives Bold 1 and Tough 1. So you got Focus 2 from yourself, you've got Plan 1 from Decepticon Crown, you've got Bold 1 from General Optimus Prime, then you've got your Metal Detector and your Anticipation Engine. What happens? Or to be more precise, in what order does this all actually happen? And the answer is, first, you use the abilities of all of the upgrades. You've got Anticipation Engine, Metal Detector, and Decepticon Crown. They will all work at the exact same time. And remember, when all the things happen at the same time, you get a choice as the attacking player. Now, Decepticon Crown is an interesting one here, because you can use Decepticon Crown to put down an action and then choose Anticipation Engine to guarantee playing it, or put down an upgrade and then use Metal Detector to guarantee playing it. Or you might not want to do that, and then you just resolve the other two first, in whichever order you like. If you're attacking and you've got a Peace Through Tyranny in hand, you'll probably want to do Anticipation Engine and Metal Detector first, and then use Plan 1 from Decepticon Crown to put it down, so that you flip more, or at least more orange, when you attack. The key point here is focus comes in after you use the abilities on the upgrade, which is huge, because otherwise you'd be able to either know what the top two cards were, or be able to discard them to try and increase the chances of doing what you want. Being able to use Focus 2 before you used Anticipation Engine and Metal Detector would be amazing, but you can't. You can use Plan 1 before them, but that's the only one. After you've used Focus, then you use Bold 1. Bold 1 has to come last here, because Focus 1 is before you attack, and Bold 1 is how many cards you flip when you attack, so it's very important that Bold 1 comes last here. There was an option for the rules people, the designers, whoever it is, there was an option here for them to rule that you could use Focus 2 before using the others, but really Focus 2 is before flipping battle cards. It doesn't really make sense that when you attack things, coming from all the abilities on the upgrades, would happen after Focus. You could make an argument, but I don't think that would be the strongest argument. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Very quickly, things like Power Sword. What happens if you attach it to a melee character, say Bumblebee Trusted Lieutenant, and then that melee character turns into a non-melee character, i.e. you transform? Nothing. We've covered this before, but it's worth repeating. A card like Power Sword can only be attached to a melee character, but that's it. It can only be attached to a melee character. Once it's attached to a melee character, it doesn't matter what happens to it after that, as long as it is properly attached to the melee character. Though you cannot quartermaster it to a non-melee character, that wouldn't work. There we go. Motormaster's ability. That basically says that characters other than Motormaster cannot take non-attack damage from your opponent's cards. Does that include abilities? Yes, it does. So if a Superion forms, they get to deal 3 damage to an enemy. If there's a Motormaster out, you should direct it towards Motormaster, because anything else will fail. Grenade launcher on Blurr. Well, Blurr's got an amazing ability whereby when you do attack damage to a tapped enemy and there is at least one untapped enemy, you untap and then attack an untapped enemy. Well, what if you've got Grenade Launcher attached? Well, Grenade Launcher says after the upgraded character attacks, you scrap this card. If it said at the end of the turn, it would be fine, but the first attack is an attack, it falls off, it's not there for the second attack. You've already attacked, then it falls off. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Now, speaking of upgrades that can only be attached to particular characters, what about Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime? it could only be put on Optimus Prime. Okay. But what happens if Optimus Prime then forms up into Optimus Maximus using the Sentinel Enigma card? And the answer is, it stays. Just like we said with Bumblebee a moment ago, because it was properly attached to Optimus Prime, and it's still attached to Optimus Prime, you're golden. Optimus Prime might now be part of Optimus Maximus, but that doesn't matter. You're good. Now that was previously ruled, so what about Laser Cutlass, a card I was lucky enough to be able to reveal, which gives PS3 but can only be attached to a character with 7 stars or fewer? Well, what happens if you've got this attached to Alpha Bravo, clearly the best of the aerial bots, come at me in the comment section, who is less than 7 stars, but then you form up into Superion, who is very much more than 7 stars? And the answer is you keep Laser Cutlass. Now, if it's removed with something like a Vandalism, or Vandalize, you can't get it back, but that's fine. It's properly attached to Alpha Bravo. Alpha Bravo forms into Superion, so you get to keep it on Superion. And let's finish with an awkward one about All Out Attack, another card that causes consternation here and there. So let's say you've got Bumblebee tapped in bot mode, and then you've got Prowl and Cliffjumper untapped in car mode. You play All Out Attack. Cliffjumper has an anticipation engine its back and flips a start your engines. Bumblebee flips to car mode, and then you choose to untap Cliffjumper. Using B's extra action, because you flipped it into alt mode, you get to play an extra action. You play Ready for Action and untap Bumblebee. All 3 of your cars are now untapped. So what actually happens here? Because you've played All Out Attack, and you can attack with all of your untapped characters this turn. But it says can attack, not must attack. So you get to choose who attacks, you get to choose the order in which they attack, but they are not required to attack. They cannot attack a second time unless your opponent is tapped out. But remember, you must still attack with at least 1 character during your turn if you're able to do so. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, another lovely rules roundup. We are getting into spoiler season very soon. So yes, we've been a little bit light on Transformers videos for the past couple of weeks, while lots has been going on with Keyforge and little has been changing in the world of Transformers. But now that we've got some spoilers to come, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to change very, very quickly. I, for one, am rather excited. But I'd like to know what you think about all of these rules. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, and remember, if you've got any pending questions, chuck them in the comment section, and I'm sure myself or someone else will get to them shortly. For now, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, and that's where we talk about games and such, Transformers or otherwise. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, which is where you can support the channel and get some bonus pods if that's what you fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.